Welcome to The Insiders by Durham Lane, an industry podcast that connects the worlds of marketing and sales, one guest at a time. I'm your host, Richard Lane. I'm co-founder and chief commercial officer at Durham Lane. And today I'm thrilled to be joined by Alexandre Aimé, VP of Global Marketing and Communication at Hexagon. Our focus for today's episode is all around marketing as a revenue driver. And we're going to focus on both Alex's career and his time at Hexagon. So, Alex, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being with us. In terms of getting started, before we dive in, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Hexagon.
Sure. Thanks, Richard. Pleasure to be with you. And what a pressure. I hope that it will be interesting for
No pressure. No pressure.
But myself, a career in marketing, in IT, energy management, and now in high precision measurement with Hexagon. I had several positions in for digital asset management, in e-commerce, in marketing strategy, marketing, field marketing as well. I spent 7 years of my career in Asia, in Beijing and Hong Kong, and then a couple of years in France and traveling quite a lot in US as well. So very happy to go through the different also geographies and to meet different markets, different culture, different people. About Hexagon. So Hexagon is a Swedish company, one of these Swedish successful company. We are 25,000 people. We do 5 billion euro revenue across 50 countries. And we mainly do high precision measurement for where we live. So we digitalize land, cities, buildings, also for what we produce. So it means that we are playing into manufacturing area for key markets like automotive, aerospace, electronics, energy. And we with the data, with our hardware, we capture and generate data that our customers use to improve the quality and the manufacturing of what they produce, but also to do reverse engineering to help the design of components. So that's mainly what we do.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for being with us. And it's great to have a Swedish HQ'd business on the Insiders podcast. So that's fantastic. Just to maybe then get us started, Alex, when we're thinking about marketing as a revenue driver, you've switched recently to an external BDR, business development representative model. What were your main reasons behind that choice?
Two main reasons: backlog and conversion rate. So I explain myself. So, and we didn't switch the entire, BDR organization. We had a quite fairly good BDR organization, but looking at what we were generating as amount of leads, and we have a marketing team or marketing machine that works pretty well, filling up top of the funnel pretty well, having year over year and quarter over quarter more and more, leads. I've noticed that we had more and more backlog of leads that was untouched, and then moving forward of opportunities that were untouched, and then it was impacted badly the bottom of the funnel, so the conversion rate to won opportunities. And I wanted to, because there is one thing at Hexagon that is great, there is a very good collaboration, or at least a relationship between marketing and sales. And it's not that often. But there is a good, collaboration. But then we had this conversion rate, and I wanted to find out why. We have this bad conversion rate. Even going through the process and through the step that was very rational, I couldn't figure it out. So I said, okay, why not? What if we have an external, element that will show us, or help us to go through the root causes. So maybe it's in the process, maybe it's in on some of the missing steps that we have, missing the questions that we ask, maybe it's in the leads that we generate, because at the end of the day, I couldn't really tell if it's good or bad quality leads and quality opportunities, because my goal is really to make sure that when the sales accept an opportunity, he or she spend the least amount of time to close it. To make sure they start to gain trust into the opportunity. So that was really these two elements.
Okay. And great to hear that your sales and marketing teams work together. It's a crusade that I've been on. If you listen to this podcast, it's something we talk about a lot. Have you have you found that some of those root causes have been uncovered? And how has that visibility been helped by engaging with an external partner?
I think so. So it means that we are now it's 6 months, 7 months into the process. On average, bare minimum, not on average, but bare minimum, we need 3 to 4 months to close a lead. So really from lead to one, bare minimum 4 months.
Yeah.
So we should start to see an improvement into our conversion rate. So I don't have my final conclusions,
Yes.
but I have few ideas. One of kind of 101 sales operations things that I think we are missing is really a local sales governance or sales operations governance and sales opportunity governance. Due to the size of the organization, also the challenge to have account everywhere, which is and everybody's
Yes.
challenge. We might need to have somebody or an individual that go on a weekly basis through all the opportunities and ask where we stand and so on. It's a bit of basic. It's very also granular, but I noticed that doesn't happen. And also doing that, I could challenge either sales organization or either you guys, telling you, it's not mature enough. It's not, a ready to pass opportunity. Because also what we've done an analysis of the close and cancel, opportunities that have been accepted but then closed. And then I could start to design also some root causes that, because sometimes is just a customer support question that we thought it was an opportunity. Sometimes there is it's an already existing opportunities. So when it's an already existing opportunity, then we shouldn't close it, but we should send it to influenced box and attribution in an attribution model. Then sometimes that by lack of sales training, the salesperson close it, but then reopen it a few weeks later. And that's also more an education and a training that we need to look at it. So that's why it helped me to identify those elements. And then on the qualification side, upstream, I would say, is maybe I need one more questions into the process, because today there is these 3 famous questions: budget, timing, and project. And I know that I need one more question to be a bit more precise, to know if the customer know exactly our product, or if the customer need a furthermore, discussion. So we need to nurture a little bit the opportunity.
Yeah, and we're 15 years into Durham Lane, and we've seen a lot of customer projects, and partnership is such an important word in how, particularly when it comes to reporting and it comes to CRM and making sure that an opportunity is showing right and working through the system. And it does take a lot of effort and a lot of work, and I think both sides have responsibility to make sure that happens. So I can say that actually from a systems point of view, we may talk about this a bit later on, but I think that's working really well in terms of our use of Salesforce and SalesLoft and how that's playing through. So we might come back to that later. Just moving on then a little bit, I think in your intro, you mentioned you've worked in many different parts of the world, 7 years in Asia. Be really interesting to understand what lessons you've learned from that international experience and how that's shaped your sort of thinking around go-to-market today.
Yeah, you need to be humble when you work in a different, geographies, because there is no one size fits all on the way the people work, but also the way, for example, the way people call a reseller or a partner is not at all the same thing in the different geographies and even in the different industries, even if we're all doing, B2B. So that's as simple as that. And as I used to say to my teams, even if we speak, or at least I try to speak English, we are almost lost in translation. So it means the same word will mean a lot of different things.
Yes.
And what I see is if I would like to be a bit, high level in the main differences, I know that in US, that's a culture of inside sales and BDR. They know how it works. They know they're used to it. So it's not the challenge of putting a team of BDR into the business. The challenges is more on the quality of opportunities, the quality of leads, and to make sure that we gain the trust of the sales on on this side of the business. In Asia, that's what I've seen is it's not a model that is known too much, or at least, that is used. So far. And I'm not speaking about the call centers in Philippines or whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking within the way to do business.
Yeah.
And in Europe, it will depend on the type of the countries, the type of business. And obviously, the challenge is to make sure that you have BDRs that speak a proper local language, and that's because you need to have the accurate terminologies of the business. You need to make sure that you understand as well the customers, but you have challenges and issues. So that's one of the main, characteristic I've seen across.
Yeah, we've really found from our European delivery that it's not enough to just speak the language. You have to be a native of that country. So
yeah,
that seems to play out no matter where we work. And how about when you think about aligning global sales and marketing functions? So you've got a global responsibility within Hexagon. How do you roll out different programs to different regions internally, or do you have an overriding program that everybody has to get on board with, or how do the local differences how do you use those local differences to create success?
Yeah. So what we see is we need to have air cover, I would say. So this global program to educate or to tell a certain industry that Hexagon is playing and have solutions for aerospace or automotive and so on. So to raise up the level of awareness. And then when we go down the granularity of a specific market, we need to be much more product driven. So it means we need to be much more product pragmatic to make sure that the leads and opportunities that we generate will start to be focused early on a specific solution and a specific product. That you have the account management that is a bit different, because we know that we could have a longer maybe discussion with an account and a wider discussion with an account. When we do air cover, we need to be very precise or very focused and specific, because sales organization might not have time to spend to nurture. So it has to happen during the BDR, but the BDR needs to have this product knowledge. So that's why there is this, and that has been the discussion, I can tell you, with the past 2 years with the field marketing team and the global marketing team is we know what each other we have to do.
Yeah.
But where do we meet? So in the funnel, where do we meet to make sure that we generate top of the funnel and we educate, but also we need to be very pragmatic at country level and regional level.
And is that different per geography? Does that change per region, per geography?
I thought yes, and finally I don't. Not so much.
Right. Okay.
It's just the timing that is different.
Right.
So because opportunities and business opportunities are, I would say, everywhere. I mean, you always have a business opportunity, even if it's in a niche marine segment or if it's a very specific, area. What we always pay attention is, do we have the sales support? Do we have the sales individuals that are ready to support it? I'll give you a very simple example. There is one country in the world where there is the watch industry that is very important, that is Switzerland. It's not a myth, that it's Switzerland. And we are very present into this market, and we do only campaigns in Switzerland. But then about marine, you have marine in EMEA North, in Nordics, a bit in Mediterranean countries, a bit in Korea. But you need to make sure that you have a sales organization that are ready to speak to those customers. Otherwise, we just generated leads, opportunities that will not go anywhere.
Which will
it's not only a waste of money, it's a bad customer experience that we are generating. Yeah. And we are just working for the competition because we educate the market.
You're aware, awareing and educating. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so, you have leads sitting in CRM that never get responded to, and customers thinking, why have I not had a reply? So yeah. Which leads us nicely onto our next question, which is something we've talked a lot about here on the Insiders, is the importance of marketing being a revenue generating function rather than a cost center, which certainly when I started working, it was very much seen as a cost center. What is, how is marketing seen within Hexagon, if you're allowed to tell me?
No, but it's not only Hexagon. I mean, companies have been that are mainly B2B companies, hardcore companies, kind of. Marketing, when we say marketing, most of the time people think communication and color of the catalog. Right?
Used to be brochures,
catalogs, events, brochures, and events. So, and I don't exaggerate when I say that. But as we know, marketing is much more complex than that. And then the way with the team, we tried to change the marketing perception. It was really to not discuss about the shopping list we have to do, so the execution side, but it's they want to speak about what are the priorities of our business stakeholders. So instead asking them, what do you want us to do? Is what do you need to achieve for your business? And from what they need to achieve for their business, we say, okay, we will build a marketing plan, a marketing strategy. That's our job, and then we'll present. So it was a first education to say, no, it's not you to tell me to which event or which catalog to produce it. Just let me, what do you want to achieve in terms of amount of business, amount of leads, or at least amount of revenue, and then we give you the best route to go. So it was the first step, and then the second step, it was really to go into the rationale of how many business we need to generate for you to reach this level of contribution. And it was really to start to try to see if we had some measurement about the marketing portion of the marketing contribution to the revenue, and to really start to speak their language. I mean, in the QBRs, not mine, but in the QBRs that we have, marketing QBRs, we don't speak about marketing functional. We don't have marketing functional KPIs. We don't speak about heat map, or we don't speak about amount of visitors on a booth, or amount of project we've done, or we speak about the traffic on the website, but for another reason. But I mean, I've set up what I call the golden KPIs that are marketing generated revenue, marketing generated opportunities, marketing influenced revenue, marketing ROI. And there is one metric on, share of voice. I mean, it's awareness, which is a combination of brand awareness and share of voice. Because I wanted really to speak the language of a QBR. And it's a QBR, you don't have tons of time, so you need to be very precise. And if you come from a marketing angle and you start to speak about the millions that you generate, then people will start to listen to you, because okay, if you represent 8, 10, 15% of the revenue that is generated, people start to consider you because you start to represent like a small country size. So
and it's it's clear you're very focused on marketing being a driver of growth for the business, and you're working back from the strategy and the goals and the ambitions, and then the marketing strategy will link into that to provide the growth. I love the idea of golden KPIs. Is that a global measure for you? And do you then do that in each country level as well?
Yeah, it's a global measure, and then I could cascade down by industry. I mean, if we want, I have it by industry, I have it by country, and also it's KPIs that are kind of unfair, for the marketing people because we have very poor influence on the generated revenue. Because when we hand over, I mean, that's not us anymore.
Yeah.
A very poor influence on the influence revenue. On the others, that's pretty okay. But I really wanted, and it was a discussion with the team to have that to really represent a workforce. I mean, to really represent a business influence power in the company.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. And thinking about thinking about your go-to-market, I certainly feel, and when I speak to a lot of people, everyone knows that it's a very turbulent economy over the last couple of years, and you're a global organization, and there's a lot of global uncertainty in terms of particularly in all walks of life, but it definitely affects us in B2B as well. Have you had to make changes over the last few years in terms of ICP or adjusting the focus of your BDR teams or your marketing programs to adapt to that, or are you sort of fixed on a certain course?
The ICP in our industry is pretty stable. In a sense of people in manufacturing area that works on quality assurance, quality measurement, the metrologist, the plant floor management, manufacturing management are pretty stable. What changed quite a lot, what changed is maybe the mega trends, the problem solving, the what they need to achieve within these ICPs. So the profiling, I would say, or if we speak about the person, are kind of the same.
Yes.
But then if you add the ICP, kind of different because, for example, if you look at the automotive industry is in a tremendous transformation. And I'm not even speaking about electrical vehicle. I'm speaking about also the amount of vehicles that will need to be or needs to be produced that are decreasing tremendously in some areas. If you look at some economies like the German economy that was driven mainly by automotive, they need to adapt and adjust. There is a booming of course, the electronics industries, not only in China but in the rest of Asia. Aerospace is working very well because even if we speak about CO2 reduction and the challenges of the aerospace industry into the global warming, I mean, we work with these companies that look for solutions to reduce their emission, to have much more innovation. And that's where we help them, is really to help to trigger innovation with our solutions. So that's why it's the personas, I mean, the type of jobs are still kind of the same. Their focus might change, and the way we help them might change. I mean, this is why, I mean, for example, we've released this Quality for Life, positioning for the manufacturing area, because I do believe that we should help them to deliver the promise they do to their customers, not only a tool, not only a measurement, but we help them to fly, to help the customers to fly in the most comfortable way, to drive a nice car, to use their electronics the way they want, and so on. So it changed a bit, the relationship and the way we interact with them.
Yeah, so similar ICP, similar personas, but maybe slightly different messaging and a different, bigger goal that you're driving towards.
Yeah.
And talking about disruption and change, what professional podcast would be here without the mention of AI? So perhaps as a final question for today, Alex. Looking ahead, how do you see AI and digital transformation influencing go-to-market strategies, and I guess also the role of marketing in driving that revenue?
Yeah.
Big question. So some first thoughts would be great.
Yeah, no, but that's I mean, in a sense, we are lucky because we and collectively we work in industries that are very close to new technologies each time. So as individuals, we are lucky to not be lost, in the understanding of how to use or what is AI. I could do some parallels with a few years ago with cybersecurity or
Yes.
A blockchain. We've been lucky to be close enough to understand what is it to know how to use it. For AI, a couple of things. First is we use more and more AI into our own product, into the way our softwares will interpret the data. Also, we've released, over the summer, our first humanoid robot that is called Aeon, and it's using AI because it's an autonomous robot. Then in the marketing world, a few things. First is I always mention to the team that AI, we need to stay close to AI because it has to be a tool. It's the way to augment our capacities. It could be perceived as, okay, it will replace, some of the job or task we do, but we need more to see it as, no, it's an additional resource. It's
Yes.
like a super assistant. So,
yeah.
And in marketing is, if you look at the communication part, so in terms of all you have in the studios and so on, that's a way to accelerate what we produce in terms of imagery or in terms of content. In terms of marketing funnel, it's a way also to sustain the conversation we have with customers online, the way we will understand customers when they land on or arrive on our website, and the way to guide them to the right product or the right solution. And that's also the way we leverage that to better understand the customer data and to the customer targeting that we have. So, and we have already included and we are using AI. It just as any tool, it's just that you need to have dedicated resource on it to make the most of it. Because getting the tool is fairly easy, right?
Yeah.
But it just to make sure that you need to associate the tool with the right education, the right training, and sometimes the right driver to make it work.
Yeah, I think my sort of view on this is make sure there's a problem to be solved before you go out and buy some AI to do the work, because I think that's what's happening is everyone's jumping on I need to buy this without really thinking hard enough about what are they trying to solve for. So probably an entire podcast in itself, Alex. But look, we're gonna wrap up there. So firstly, thank you so much for joining us on the Insiders and for sharing your journey and your wisdom and your work at Hexagon. Much appreciated. And thank you to everyone that is listening. Really appreciate you joining us for this episode. I'm Richard Lane. I've been your host. If you'd like to hear more from us, then please find us on your favorite podcasting site, such as Spotify and all the others. And if you'd like to know more about Durham Lane, then you can see how we're more than just SDR outsourcing at durhamlane.com. Until next time, we will see you then. Alex, thanks again. And everyone have a great day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Alex.